Hey everyone, welcome to another news from the Frunk. Hey, I bought a new Tesla! It's not a Model X. It's the Matchbox version. It came. Yay! I haven't opened the packet yet. I don't know whether to do it or not. Isn't that silly? I suppose I should open the packet, really. There are two different Matchbox car. One is this one, the little red one. There's also a Hot Wheels version. I'm not sure about the sparkly silver paint on the Hot Wheels one, so I went with this. I am trying to decide whether it is worth spending the money on the one that is in the store, the Tesla official Tesla store, which is I think a couple of $300. But I don't know, for the time being, I think this one is good enough, don't you? One of the problems of recording news from the Frunk is I do it here in my garage, and that means there's lots of noise going past on the street outside. I don't know whether you can hear it in the background, but a buddy of mine around the corner has a Lamborghini. I can hear the V12 rumblings over there. Or is it a V10 these days? I don't know. Who cares? It's still not as good as the Model S. Now news from August. So the 2015 National Automobile Dealer Association EV Resale Guide has come out, and Tesla, it turns out, is #1 for resale value for both 1-, 2- and 3-year-old cars. Now, great news, but in my experience, it doesn't necessarily apply to trade-ins back to Tesla. For folks who bought Model S's and then almost immediately traded them in because they wanted to flip them to a P85D or something, Tesla seems to have given pretty good trade-in values for those. Mine, when I spoke to them, they gave me a fairly low-ball figure. But certainly, if you are offering up your car for a private sale, then it looks like, at least according to the NADA guide, you're going to get a pretty good price, at least as good as, if not better than, everything else that's out there. So talking of the automotive market, IHS Automotive recently released the analysis of the EV market, and Tesla is the #1 best-selling EV in North America. It beats out the Nissan Leaf and everything else out there. Now let's switch gears and talk about China. There was a report that Tesla was going to start charging 15 yuan per hour at charging stations in China, and the story was that these were supercharging stations in China. Now, digging into the details, it looks like they're nothing to do with the superchargers, and in fact Tesla has partnered with a company to offer level 2 charging, and there will be a charge for that. The supercharging remains free. Now, in what might be a somewhat strange story, the fossil fuel industry has actually partnered with Tesla. There is a story out there that Tesla has partnered with PKN Orlen to add superchargers to some of the Star gas stations in Germany, and is also looking at Poland and the Czech Republic. Google Plus user Ruski Rozpierdalec, thank you, has shared that story, and I appreciate the tip on that one. In hacker news, and I'm going to be covering another hacker story later on, but this one is kind of interesting because it's not necessarily what you'd expect. A guy called Michael Elias has been doing some really interesting thing. He is a CERN engineer in Switzerland who tinkers around with all kinds of things in his spare time, and one of the things he's been tinkering with is a motor controller. Now, what's kind of interesting is he's taken a Tesla drivetrain, so the motor and the inverter, and has hacked it. So he now has a motor controller that will drive the inverter and the motor. Now, this gets even crazier because he didn't want to or couldn't get his hands on a drivetrain from a Model S or a Roadster, but the Tesla drivetrain is actually in the Mercedes B-Class, and it's pretty much identical to what is in the Model S. So he took a wrecked B-Class, took the drivetrain out of it, managed to get it onto a pallet on a fork truck, got it into the back of a truck, and then, this is where it gets really strange, hauled it up into his apartment up a flight of stairs. And as you know, drivetrains are not exactly light. So there's some great video of him controlling that Tesla drivetrain using some homemade electronics. And he now says that you would be able to take a drivetrain out of a B-Class, drop it into whatever car you want to put it in, or you could take the drivetrain out of one of these things if you wanted to do that. If you find a wrecked one, put it in your home-built project, and he will be able to supply you with a motor controller that lets you recreate the Tesla experience in whatever you want. Now, some of you may have spotted a headline about a Tesla Model S being struck by lightning. If not, there is a link down in the note below. But basically, there was a Tesla that was charging, I think, at a supercharger station and was struck by lightning. At that point, the dashboard lit up with all kinds of craziness. I reached out to the lady involved, a lady called Sarah, to try and get more information. Turns out that for contractual reasons or what, I'm not sure, she will not speak about that event and directed me to Tesla. I haven't managed to get anything out of Tesla about that, so it looks like they're keeping it completely under wraps. If I hear anything, I will give you an update. Okay, that's it for this episode of News from the Frunk. Watch out for more news coming soon.